What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Think Tank Show. We on the best station in the nation, TV 33 WHPR. So I know it's a whole bunch of y'all on y'all way down here to the meet and greet for Cheryl Underwood. Do not call anymore, y'all, and ask for any passes because there aren't any more passes. So just know that I gave you opportunity via everything to call in. I announced it and I re-announced it, and we ran commercials after commercials. So don't nobody call me upset talking about you didn't tell me about Cheryl Underwood was going to be at 160 Victor Street. I don't want to hear it. And don't come down here talking about you want to get in and your name ain't on the list. You're not getting in. What's going on, y'all? Brother Sutton Bay here. We live as always. We had a couple technical difficulties, but it is what it is. We here with y'all as per usual. This is the Think Tank Show, and today we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna follow up with the corruption in the prison system. This is a serious matter. This is not something that I take lightly because I have done so much time within the prison system to I understand and I know what's going on in there. And I'm so happy that people are now starting to wake up. And we are blessed with a treat today. We're blessed with our sister Kimbria Catazel coming from Virginia. She's going to be chiming in with us via telephone call. Let's see if the sister is there with us on the line. Tune up these phones and see what's going on. Islam sister, are you there?
Peace, peace. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I just wanted to make sure that you was locked in and that everything is everything because I know you one of those sisters that's prompt on time and you've been locked in for some time now, and I know you was kind of figuring out what's going on. But we here, sister. How's everything going down there in Virginia with the Moors?
Actually, things are well with Virginia, but I'm quite sure just like in every other state, our brothers and our sisters are getting locked up at a rapid rate. The Moors here in Virginia, we have a great task ahead of us, actually, because though Virginia was the first state to be put in slavery and the last state to be free from slavery, a lot of the people here don't understand the history, so our conscious community is quite small here. So the Moors out here, our boots are strapped up and we're putting in work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know y'all had the convention last month, and we seen you on Facebook uh, going to the convention, and it was a grand occasion just to see y'all, traveling that way to go to the convention. How was it?
The convention was beautiful. It's always beautiful when Moors get together and create plans for futures of our children and ourselves. This year, the Moors, we actually had a meeting and we did a demonstration at Washington, D.C. on the White House. And we pretty much was just, letting everybody know that was out there that the Moorish Americans are awake and we're coming to get what's ours.
What's the agenda?
For as the meeting at the White House or the convention?
The meeting at the White House, etc.
The meeting at the White House, actually, it was just a lot of people are not familiar with what was really going on with Moses and Pharaoh. So it was the first cry out to Pharaoh to let my people go.
When you say Pharaoh and let my people go, could you be a little bit more specific?
Well, sure. You know, everywhere it's the information age that we're in now, and everywhere they're releasing information on everything except for the Moors in America and the Moorish side Temple of America. And so now it's time for not only our nationality to be recognized amongst our
It's
people
kind of
that
hard to
live
hear you,
here.
sister. Can you speak up just a little bit? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, I was stating that, everywhere right now they are releasing information on everything except for the Moors in America and the Moorish Science Temple of America. And right now it's time. The time is now for our people to wake up and proclaim their nationality and understand who they are. And it's time for the master to let go of the stronghold that he have on our people. And so that was the agenda, to let them know this is call number one. Let our people go.
Yeah.
And we did the walk on DC to let our people know, hey, because anybody who knows anything about the White House, if you're doing anything radical against the law or that is not true and proven to be true, it will be shut down immediately once you go to the White House and try to demonstrate it. So what we wanted to let our people know is that, hey, listen, this is something that is recognized by your government, that you are Moorish American, and it's time now to proclaim your nationality. The theme was the Moorish campaign.
Yeah.
Praise Allah. What was the response like?
Praise Allah. That's right, sister.
What was the response like? My co-host Sister Terrian asked you, what was the response like?
You want to know, I'm a little bit sad to say this, but every other nationality that was out there at D.C. At the White House, they understood and they got it, and they were so happy to see. They knew about the Moors, and we had people that were from Spain. How about, you know, the Moors from Spain? But our own people, the one who the message was for, they looked at us like we were crazy and kept on moving. No matter how much we stopped them, we demonstrated what we were doing to them. What we were doing out there, we demonstrated the goal. They would not take the time to understand what was going on.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing about the topic today is basically along the same lines. And the reason why people don't understand what's going on, I think personally myself, is because they don't want to know what's going on. Let me explain what I mean. The reason why I don't think people want to know what's going on, because I think it's easier for them to live unconscious than it is to be conscious. Because when you're conscious of your surroundings and you're conscious of the times that you're living in, it's a little bit more heartening when you see the things that you see going on within our community and from amongst our people, especially those things that's being perpetuated on our people, by our people, and even more so by the system itself. And well, let me give you an example. I know that the brothers and the sisters, or just people in general, that are sent to prison are sent there because they have to be punished for the crimes that they committed. And we got some in there that's innocent. So we're not even gonna play like that. There's not any people in prison that aren't innocent, because that's just the way that it is. But inside, when the system place people inside a prison, they're not sending them there to be tortured. They're not sending them there to be poisoned. They're not sending them there to be agitated. But to the contrary, that's what's going on. And the reason why that's going on inside the prison system is because people don't want to be conscious of what actually is going on in the prison system. What they do is they just turn them over to the prison system, and they just expect that the system is going to do the right thing. And that's not necessarily the case, especially when you look at what's going on the ground floor. When you're talking about the police brutality, you're talking about people murdering unarmed Asiatics here in America. They got their hands up. They still getting shot. They going reaching for that identification as they asked for. They still getting shot. Pregnant women is being snatched out of their cars and threw on the ground and beat and things like that. And for the most part, it's all Asiatics. And even inside the prison system, when we look at the prison system itself, we understand that the prison system is termed the Department of Correction. But for the most part, the only correction that is going on inside the Department of Correction is that which is coming from certain groups that are being demonized as far as mainstream media is concerned. And that is, for instance, the Moorish Science Temple of America is the reason why I'm here. The Moorish Science Temple of America is what actually molded my mind. The Moorish Science Temple of America is actually what helped develop the man that you see today on television. And that is also applicable to everyone that's sitting here with me at this table, because all of us have, even if you're not a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they have studied the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, including yourself. And the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple of America is positive as it can get. And when you go inside the prison system, you have other organizations like the Nation of Islam, etc. And they are developing boys into men. They are developing warped minds into healthy minds. And when you have these type of programs going on in there, and you turn around and you wonder, well, what's going on with the Department of Corrections? Why don't they have the programs anymore? Now, let me give you an example. I talked to people time we had this topic, and I was telling people how we had colleges inside the prison system. We was able to get grants, go to school, get a degree, come home, and be a contributing factor into society. Mostly like what Noble Drew Ali teaches that the Moorish Science Temple of America is doing for us as Moorish Americans once we are in the MST of A and we make it a part of ourselves, and that is becoming better citizens. And when you get an education, then you understand that you can write your own ticket. And the recidivism rate of men and women who were coming back into society with the education was extremely low, meaning those were not the ones that was coming back to prison. Those were the ones who was coming out there and they was creating their own jobs and they was contributing to civilization. So they took the college system from the men and women inside the Michigan Department of Correction. And when they took that, only thing that they left them with was they was only able to get a GED, learn how to be a porter or a custodial maintenance certificate, which is giving you certificate and certification of being a janitor. Now, we understand that, it's only so many janitors that's needed. Okay, you can become a mechanic. It's only so many mechanics that are needed. But when brothers was going to school and sisters was going to school, they was getting degrees in business, psychology. They was getting degrees in a lot of different fields. Law. A lot of people was getting degrees in law. Yeah. And we were able to understand the difference between what is legal and what's lawful.
Right.
And in respect of that, you had a lot of brothers and sisters that was actually studying the teachings that Noble Drew Ali came with and was seeing if it was viable.
Right.
Was nationality important? Is nationality important? And they was able to utilize the same legal system and the lawful system that Noble Drew Ali was talking about in order to help better foster and extend the teachings and the learnings of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, I may be getting a little bit off base for many or for some, but the point that I'm making is that when we look at what the Department of Correction has become across the board in the United States of America, it has become a business like no other.
Right.
It is capitalizing off of the hardship of those who were mentally sick, and they're capitalizing off of the families of those who was mentally sick, and they're also turning around capitalizing or re-victimizing economically those who was victims of those who was mentally sick. And people might say, well, what do you mean by that? They sucking the money, the taxpayers' money, and they're taking it and they're spending it on warehousing and punishment, not correction. Mm-hmm. And this is the reason why my argument is it should not be the Department of Correction. It should be the Department of Warehousing or punishment.
It's set up like that.
Right.
It's set up like that.
It's set up like that.
When I worked in corrections, during orientation, I hadn't even started yet. Mm-hmm. It was told to us, if you want to open up a prison, all you have to do is write a letter to the governor, tell them where you want it at, and they'll set it up for you.
Right.
Just make sure you get some PhDs to come in and be a director and take over.
They're building. Sister Kimbria, I don't want your grandmother or your mother to be upset with me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. So I want to put emphasis on Kimbria. I don't know the politics of Virginia and the sentencing system and how they sentence people there, and I don't understand that system. But I can say this, that I did spend a year in Jarrett, Virginia, Greensville Correctional Facility, and the reason, and this is how I got there. Now, this shows you how the slave trade is in full effect. The prison system in the state of Michigan was overfilled to the capacity to the point that they had people, men and women, sleeping in day rooms, gymnasiums, on the floors, etc., etc. They had they was way beyond the capacity of what you can have, how many human beings that you can have in one facility or in close vicinity. The same law is applicable to animals, and they put the animals inside the prison system, and they adhere to that particular law that you can only have so many dogs in a close vicinity because of certain reasons, because of infections, agitation, etc., etc. And this is the reason why you can't have so many animals in close vicinity or in one cage at one particular time. And the same philosophy,
But humans.
it applies to humans, and it's on the books, but they negate that. When you can only have 2 human beings in one particular room that's sharing a room, they'll put 4 in there. And this is what they have been doing, and has been the practice for about 25, if not 30 years now. And no one has challenged, well, people have challenged that, but, and the courts have told Department of Corrections they can't do it, but they continue to do what they want to do because they're making so much money. The courts is only fining them. They're giving them fines on a yearly basis.
And they
So
have
they
all
would
these
rather,
corporations
right, so they would
fighting
rather
them.
pay the fines off and continue to warehouse the people inside the Department of whatever.
Corrections.
Right. So now what we have to look at is that when it happened in 1989, they started shipping men and us from the state of Michigan to Virginia and started warehousing us there. They started renting out a prison in Jarrett, Virginia. Instead of sending them back into the community with an education and sending them back to their families to be fathers and uncles and brothers and sons, they was willing to send them to another state who was willing to accept the money to warehouse us in their particular state. That was actually the slave trade. That happened.
I was curious to know what the system is like in Virginia. I know it varies from state to state, how harsh conditions are. So there's a 24 state wide, at least as of early October, there was a 24 state national, excuse me, not boycott, national prison strike. Is Virginia one of the prisons participating in the strike?
Actually, one of my friends told me that they are participating in it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's on a grand scale of the whole Virginia. Do not get me to lying, but there are prisoners participating in it.
Yeah, so in Michigan, I don't know how many prisons we have, but there's one prison in Michigan that I know of that is participating, and people don't seem to know anything about that just within the state, so I'm guessing it's pretty much the same thing in Virginia.
Yeah, they're keeping it on the hush hush. Now, see and the reason why they're keeping it on the hush hush is because this time the inmates have a viable reason. They have a just cause, and it's because of the food, the living conditions, and the pay scale, and the education system and the prison system. And this is the reason why they're boycotting. And what they're doing is they're not going to work. They're like this right here. Okay, we're not working for you to keep us
Hitting them
in
in the
this
pockets.
hideous, situation. Why would we do that? When you paying us 10 cents an hour and we don't work, you got to pay at least somebody minimum wage to do the same jobs as you're paying
Exactly,
us.
they
10
have
and a
to
half.
bring other people in.
Right.
And, people have to have a problem knowing that prisoners, the ones who don't know, that people got real surprised when I mentioned Bank of America, because a lot of people bank with Bank of America. So people are not going to be okay. The general population is not going to be okay with knowing that prisoners, no matter how you feel about people who are incarcerated, that prisoners are doing these jobs. They're outsourcing these jobs to prisoners for either free or for pennies.
Right.
Right.
Per day, per hour. And these are jobs that other people could do, people who are
That's
not
a fact.
incarcerated. And, we have a really
Right.
high unemployment rate.
Right. And
Right.
they're going to be paid bare minimum
Right,
wage.
minimum wage.
Per
People
hour.
complain about outsourcing, outside the country,
Right.
but inside the country, people are working for free.
What are they saying? What is the weather, or what is the climate with this boycott that's going on in Virginia? Are they telling you that it's being successful? What is the response? What's going on?
Actually, people are actually joining in. The momentum is getting bigger, at least out here on the street. I only know one person that is doing the inside, but from what I'm understanding, the inmates are picking up on it, and more are joining in.
And I think that's the reason why that it's being so hush hush. It's because they don't want this fever to spread. But what they should be concerned with is, why is the fever even there?
Right. They
They're
don't.
yeah.
They
and
don't
now-
want to incite a riot.
Right. But it's like when a person is sick, and they go in and they have a high fever, and they don't understand really why this person had the high fever. They run a lot of different tests, blood tests, urinalysis, a lot of different things to find out what is wrong with that person,
What's the source of the infection?
so that they can make sure that this is not contagious. You follow me?
Yeah.
So it's the same with what's going on inside the prison system. They know what the source is, they know what the reason is, they know what's going on, but they're not giving it a diagnosis, and they're not administering to the illness.
No, they're ignoring it.
They're ignoring it,
Yeah.
or they're at least trying to make. Now let's say, for instance, if these inmates was running around tearing up the prison, stabbing guards and stabbing each other, it would be all over the CNN, Fox, MSNBC,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the major outlets would
If
be
they were just
covering this.
acting up.
Yeah, they'd be
But all
covering.
they're doing is not working.
They're not
and
working.
in some cases, not participating in regular routine activities.
Right.
But yeah, if word gets out, if people start to really know what's going on, they're gonna have to look very differently and start to examine the system.
Right. So I mean, but what I've seen and what I've gathered is Facebook, from what I'm hearing, is definitely blasting it. Facebook is definitely putting the information out there. I'm not here trying to incite anybody
Right.
to riot. I'm not here to tell anybody to tell your loved ones to tear the prison up. That's not what I'm doing. But what I want people to understand is that using your intellect will get you a lot further than if you just use brute force. Because
Absolutely.
brute force is only going to get brute force. And we can't win that battle.
Right.
Because they don't have any guns. They don't have any of those bombs or anything that the military have. And they don't have a problem with sending the military up in there. Therein, that shows that they're being effective and they're using their brains, because
Right.
not yet, not once have the National Guard had to be deployed. And they will deploy them in a heartbeat. And they would go up in there and they would do they would lawfully, legally, or whatever you want to call it, exterminate
Right.
human beings.
Immediately.
They're not gonna hesitate.
Yeah.
So because that hasn't been the response to that, they haven't been playing it.
And when I worked in correction, there is no negotiation.
There's no negotiation.
We are not allowed to negotiate.
There's no
As a
negotiation.
correction officer, we are not allowed to negotiate.
So, what do you think about the officers who are starting to participate in the strike?
Exactly what are they doing? Not going to work, quitting?
Well, they're supporting the strike. Some of them are just not doing their duties, or not coming to work.
Oh, okay. Well, they getting some support. That's the most important. You need a support system to comprehend anything and to make it happen.
Yeah, they're
Can you
utilizing
imagine?
a lot of sick days, vacation time, a lot of things like that. They're utilizing that because they can't really strike. It's
Right.
like
Not officially.
Yeah, like law enforcement really can't just pick up a picket sign and say we're not going to,
Right.
The
It's
automatic
like the,
termination.
Like the
Right.
sick outs.
Right, they
in
can't.
Detroit.
Yeah, they can't. They have to do it in another way. They just don't patrol, or they don't arrest, or they don't pull over. That's how they go about protesting, and that's what's been going on in our communities. Our communities haven't been patrolled properly, and they're protesting because of a lot of different politicians and statesmen and et cetera, has gotten behind the Black Lives Matter movement. So their thing is, oh, you're going to side with them, and we're the ones putting our lives on the line in this war.
Right.
Key word, war. So, and
They're
that's
turning it into a war.
they have turned it into a war and into a war zone. And when they go into the prison system, arguably they have turned that into concentration camps. Sister Kimberly, what do you got to bring to the table? I know you got something in store. What you want to tell us?
Well, actually, you all are covering a lot of what I wanted to speak on, but this is what my vantage point to the whole subject is. We have to, it sounded like y'all got to the bottom of what's going on. If you don't mind, I would like to reiterate, though. But we have to understand first. Now, I'm sure y'all covered a lot of subjects that I would speak on, but what we have to do as a whole is we have to understand, and then we have to plan. And so a lot of people, they're not really understanding what's going on, because when they think about jail, they think about so-called white people being there. They think about, everybody else being there, but they don't really understand what the jail system was made to do. And so, like, if they can understand first that not only was the penal system made to tear down the so-called black man, but it was also created to extract the greatest profit out of him at the lowest risk. Now, every other nation that is in the penal system is subjected to that by the law of, if you are stupid enough to do something harsh enough to land you in jail, then so be it. You deserve what you're going to receive. And that is the number one reason first why every other nation receives less harsher treatment than we do in court. And that in itself is corruption number one. But also, once we understand that, yes, the 13th Amendment was supposed to forbid slavery and involuntary servitude, but most people don't pay attention to the fact that there's an exception in that amendment. And the exception is if the punishment is for a crime where the party shall have been duly convicted, then slavery and involuntary servitude is permissible. So we have to understand, as you stated earlier, that number one, the prison system was meant to transfer one form of slavery to another system of slavery. And so they say that, boom, I'm going to give a quick statistic. They say that the so-called black people or the African-American people make up 15% of the American population. Mm-hmm. Yet, it makes up 35 to 37% of the prison system population.
Oh, you being extremely modest, sister. I think it's more like 68 to 72%.
Well,
still disproportionate.
These were just statistics that I went and researched to double check myself.
Yes,
today.
ma'am.
So it's not giving you an exact number. It's just giving you an estimation.
I just had to inject that into the conversation just to let you know that I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're in error or anything like that. I just think that that's a highly modest number because I know for a fact.
Well, of course they're going to give us the best number, but that, the percentage rate, it don't matter because even if we stick with the 35 to the 37%, and they're saying that we make up 15% of the population in America, which we all know that all of these numbers are bogus.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Even that census that you was talking about is bogus.
Right. I'm just using the numbers so that the listeners can put
it's culturally
in
biased.
proper perspective
right.
about what is really truly going on.
I apologize for cutting you off. Go ahead, sister.
Excuse me.
All is well. All is truly well. Because, one would say, well, what does this have to do with the corruption in the prison system? And so what we're going to do is show how this has all to do with the corruption in the prison system. Now, the one thing that we have to first keep in mind, right, is that I don't know if they didn't know before, which I'm quite sure the people didn't know, but the government and the foreigners learned during slavery and after slavery that our people, the so-called black person, is capable of doing and creating anything. And so what was the cheapest way to make America rich? Inmate labor. So one thing we have to understand is that this right here that they are doing is not far-fetched, or it's not something that we would look at someone as being crazy for. We just have to know and understand that if you place yourself in their jurisdiction, you are subjected to anything that they feel like you need to get.
You're undesirable.
Right.
And so it's not my duty today, because I'm quite sure that everyone is going to touch on their own vantage point. But it's not my duty today to tarry too long on the fact of what they are necessarily doing. My duty today is to get the resolution aboard for our people to understand how to get out of this mess, because we have to help our brothers and sisters that are in their stuff right now as we speak. And then we also have to help our brothers and sisters that are on the road to being in there stuck. And we have to do both of these things simultaneously at the exact same time. And to me, this is where nationality come in, because nationality is a double-edged sword. It covers all bases, whether we're speaking about law, science, or religion. Now, once we can get our people to understand that nationality teaches one about citizenship, and it also teaches one how to become a better citizen. And so once our people understand that, once you proclaim your nationality, you are a part of a nation. And a nation protects its citizens from receiving harsh and unjust punishments from other nations of the world. And if you are a part of a free nation, then it is not possible for other nations to bestow any treatment that they care or want to bestow upon you. So now our listeners have to understand, and I'm quite sure, brother, you drilled it in, but I'm going to pound it on home. Black is not a nationality. African American is not a nationality. Jamaican, Ethiopian, Haitian, Creole, etc. None of these misnomers are nationalities. And so anyone who classifies themselves as such won't have any protection from the injustices of others. Now, you and I, as Moorish Americans, we're out here in these streets and we're fighting for our people, right?
That's right.
But as long as our people in the system and on the street call themselves black, cling on to the names that allude to slavery, how much can we possibly do to help free them?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that is one of those questions that is definitely warranted, because if you're out of law, you know, you're out of law all the way around the board, and anything that is given to you is granted privilege. But you know what I've noticed, because you made some good points, what I've noticed about one thing that happened here in the city of Detroit, we had an Asiatic mayor by the name of Coleman Young. He was the first Asiatic president, and or some would say black president, for Detroit, Michigan. But he demanded that they build a prison, and they actually built 2 prisons in the city of Detroit. And his purpose for that was, we want to provide jobs, we want to take care of our own that's incarcerated, and we want to make sure they're receiving fair treatment. But most importantly, why are y'all keep building these prisons in these municipalities up in the UP, in these 98% predominantly European American communities, building up their municipalities around these prisons? I'm talking about there actually is cities that has been built behind the economics that the prisons bring to any city that the prison is built in. Exactly. So he was like, we want those prisons. We want 2 prisons in our city, because the money that is being paid to the people that work at those prisons, they're going to spend them in our communities. The men and or women that are incarcerated in those cities are actually on the census as residents. They stopped calling them inmates and convicts. They start using residents, and they stopped calling the cell blocks. They start calling them residential housing units. And the reason why, because now they receive tax money because their citizenry went up. You know, they went up maybe like 1,500 to 3,000. And for every person that they have that's in that city that's destitute, they receive a certain economically destitute, they receive benefits for them. So when they're paying them a certain wage or salary within itself, we got to look at something. How does that, what does poverty do in our community and society? It creates a criminal environment. Why? Because people want to feed their families, people want to feed and clothe themselves and their families, and they're going to go out there and they're going to commit crimes to do that. Where it's the same philosophy in the prison system. When you're feeding people, I mean, extremely below the poverty line, 10.5 cents an hour, they can't afford to call home, they barely can buy stamps. The prison system is not giving them deodorant and toothpaste and things like that has any worth or value that can sustain their teeth, because people's teeth was rotten from using the toothpaste that they give away to people that's indigent. So what do? They break in other people's lockers. They rob a lot of Caucasian people because their family has the money to take care of them. And then what does that do? That brings about an environment, a criminal environment, and it becomes a cesspool, a predatory environment within the prison system. So they're constantly fostering this idea of this criminal idea, this willfulness to volunteer their servitude by creating committing a crime. See, when you commit a crime in the community, like you say, according to the 13th Amendment, slavery is abolished and involuntary servitude is illegal. But as soon as you commit a crime and you are so-called duly convicted, you have volunteered your servitude now. You know,
Right,
and people
right,
need to
exactly.
understand that's how you get caught into the trap of becoming a slave, because you willfully committed that crime. You know you're going to be convicted for the crime. You're going to be sent to prison. You can't say that this is involuntary servitude because you willfully committed the crime. And that is the only thing that is supported. Only slavery that is supported or sanctioned in this country is when you volunteer your servitude. Involuntary servitude is against the law.
Yeah. And may I say one more? May I make one more address to the Moors, brother?
Yes.
Because we have enough proclaimed lawmasters out there. Would you agree? A lot of Moorish Americans that proclaim to be lawmasters.
Yeah. And we got some
Okay.
actual masters.
I
Right.
know we do.
And we have
I
some
know.
that has went corrupt, and they bastardized and they utilized the UCC and that sovereignty nonsense just to fill up their pockets.
Right.
And so we should be the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I'm not talking about the brothers that are in there that came across the teachings and started temples. I'm speaking about these law masters. They should be in these prisons not only teaching our people these things, but helping to free our people. But that would take unity amongst the Moors.
And that's what we
And
aiming
that's one
towards.
thing that seemed to be aching the Moors behind.
That's killing us. That is really what got us behind. And I have Sister Maxim Cook Bay. She's a co-host here. She's with us now. But she is the Grand Sheikah of Temple 13 in Pontiac, Michigan, under the leadership of Brother R. Jones Bay. And then I'm the Grand Sheik and the Supreme Grand Governor in the Grand Body that I'm a part of under the leadership of Brother D. Wayell. Then we got other brothers and sisters like yourself that is a Sheikus in Virginia. And when we come together and we show that, and that, because you come from the Dinga Wheel faction, am I correct?
Absolutely correct.
See,
Islam.
so that shows that unity is possible.
Yes.
We have three Moorish American Muslims right now on television from three different grand bodies or three different leaderships, but yet we're able to teach our people together. We're able to coexist. We're able to show unity from a social and some would say economic perspective as well, because Sister Maxim Cook Bay and myself, we do a lot of commerce together.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so and in the near future, you, myself, Sister Maxim Cook Bay, and Sister Terry, and my beautiful co-host, my sister, we're gonna be doing business together, because I plan on having you on the air with us quite frequently, because we're trying. That's what we're aiming to do, is to bridge the gap between different jurisdictions or grand bodies, or however we want to dress it up, because we know that there's only one prophet and one temple. We understand that.
That's right.
But we know that there's a lot of language out there that people just won't understand unless we use that language. A lot of times we dumb things down just for the sake of understanding. Like I might use the word black just for the sake of understanding. I might use the word African American for the sake of understanding, but I'll say it in a way that people will understand. I would say so-called black or so-called African American, so that people can ask questions and scratch their heads and be inquisitive. But the point that I'm trying to make is, when you say unity, that's key, because that's what we're aiming to. As a matter of fact, today is our monthly Unity Day meeting that we're having here in Highland Park. And we have a couple different grand bodies. We come together, we all speak, we congregate, we show love, and that's what we do. But we're showing to other people that if we can do it, why not you? And I'm honored. I am definitely honored to have you.
Due to the bitterness of what has happened, and it is a setup to destroy us, we are learning to love instead of hate. We have to get beyond that and go into divine love and love divine, and
right.
imitate the prophet immediately. It is becoming very vital and an emergency because of all the situations, not only in the prisons, but in the community.
Hmm.
And just because some grand body leaders or whomever may have did some things that are not right, this is where we're losing our membership. But we should not allow them to detour us from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because when you allow somebody to run you from your religion, you go to hell with them. You have to be
Okay.
strong enough. The prophet needs strong men and strong women to make this happen. So we must have love and unity and continue embrace Prophet Noble Drew Ali, love Prophet Noble Drew Ali, keep the message out there at all times, no matter what is happening. And
Absolutely, sis, and I honor y'all.
I mean, you know, that's what we here for, sister. We got to put our best foot forward at all times. You know, my sister Terry in here, she I mean, I, me personally myself, I would like for the all of the Moors to attend West African dance class. You know, down in Nandi's Knowledge Cafe. My sister, she's, you know, one of the ones that's responsible for teaching a lot of brothers and sisters how to dance. As a matter of fact, I missed the event by Sister Maxim Cook Bay. She had the unity in our love and unity in our community, deep appreciation for womanhood this past May, if I'm not mistaken.
we'll be doing it again in May this
and
year.
and I missed it because of elements out of my control. And I heard that the sister went up in there and she threw down and had the ground shaking up there in Pontiac, Michigan. Sister, can you get your West African dance on, Sister Cambria Kettles Ale?
I'm a dancer by nature. I haven't
Uh-huh.
traditionally been taught, but me and my daughter, we YouTube videos and we be doing our thing.
Yeah, I seen your daughter. That's why I was gonna ask you. Did you teach your daughter the moves?
No, she teaches me moves. My daughter is, listen, my daughter's name is Zaharia Santiwa, and she truly carried that spirit of the matriarch of Santiwa.
Yes.
So she just tapped into something she knew.
Yeah, well, as soon as you said that name, that I ain't even gonna try to repeat. Sister Terry and eyes got wide open because I know she know what that name mean. She be teaching me a whole what she say? Asante Santua.
Asantua was the second name
See,
for
Yeah.
Yah Asantua.
see.
Oh.
And through dance, you can
Oh, wow.
have unity.
I'll send you some information.
I told you I didn't know everything. People always you always think you know everything. No, I don't. I don't know everything. But one thing I do know is that the Moore Science Temple of America has done so much for me, and I know that it can do so much for everybody out there. And just because you don't want to come to my temple, there's Temple 25 on Grand River, Temple 4. What street is Temple 4 on?
Harper,
Harper on the east side of Detroit. You got Temple 13 in Pontiac, Michigan. Get that address.
Temple 446 Linda Vista Drive, and then we have Temple 20 in Pontiac. That's on Ferry Street, and then we have
Temple 13.
I'm Temple 13.
I mean Temple 19.
19 is in Flint, Michigan, on Martin Luther King Boulevard, and Temple number 43
Right.
on Lipke.
Right.
And so there's
Hey,
Islam.
and if you're listening and you're in Virginia, we're out here on Marshall Avenue,
That's
1804 Marshall Avenue. Stop by.
That's right. So one day it's gonna be a Moore Science Temple of America on
And
every
what's the
corner.
number to reach you at? Do you have a number where they can show up to the temple?
Yes, it's 757.
This your number, sister?
Yes, law governs all events. It's 757-256-2249.
Say it one more time.
757-256-2249.
Now, if you get any phone calls, harassing phone calls from the 313 area, 248 and 810, anything like that, you forward them numbers to me. We're gonna have to go pay them brothers a visit.
All is well. I can handle it, but if it do get out of control, I'll make sure I do that.
But you know, I want to make a couple announcements, and I need people to know that "Hear My Cries," the gospel stage play, which is going to be on December the 3rd at the Northwest Activity Center. The tickets are $30 and $40. The $30 is general admission, and the $40 is VIP admission. Once again, that's "Hear My Cries," the gospel stage play, which is headlining, starring our sister Coco. from I think that's I don't want to say the station number and get it wrong.
It used to be 98.
I think it's 105.9.
Nine.
I think that's where she's at now. Coco, if I got your name or your station wrong, please forgive me. Do not send me a bill or anything like that. But yeah, A&R Written Entertainment presents Hear My Cries, the gospel stage play, which is December the 3rd at the Northwest Activity Center. The tickets are $30 for general admission and $40 for VIP. The phone number to reach them will be, okay. You can go to www.eventbrite.com, and then you can go to God's World, and then you can call 248 795 9667. Hear My Cries, the gospel stage play. And, you know, we just want people to know not only we showing unity for our people of the Moorish community and or of the Islamic community, we showing unity amongst our people in general,
Right.
because we must conquer this Willie Lynch that's within our
Right.
families, you know, and especially us of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We have to conquer that amongst ourselves, being disunified and backed
promote.
by. Yeah, we got to promote
Each
our
other.
each other's business. We got
Love
to do
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
We got
Bring
to do that.
unity to each other.
And as a matter of fact, someone just walked in and made me think about SOS. SOS is a company that you can get, if I'm not mistaken, you can get your designs, cover designs, you can get flyers and things like that done. So you get in contact with SOS. If I'm not mistaken, it's 313-868-000. You can contact them, especially if you got some books. Ain't you got a book you writing on, Sister Kimbria?
Yes, I am a book slash movie script.
Well, we got you
It's
graphic
called
designers.
Mobitus.
We got a graphic designer, SOS Graphic Designs, right here in Detroit, Michigan at 313-868-0000. You know, you can get in
Praise God.
contact with them. Allah salam alaikum. Them brothers and sisters is definitely about their business. I seen the
Wa
sister,
alaikum
she
salam.
came through, and I had to plug that for them. But you know, we got 5 minutes left. Any last thoughts, sister, before we go off the air? Oh, we got Cheryl
I just-
Underwood. She's gonna be somewhere tomorrow. I'm gonna get this to my co-host because my eyes is bad.
Don't say that.
There he is. I can't see that stuff.
The 4th annual Bullying is No Joke comedy fundraiser is going to be held on Saturday, November 5th, tomorrow at the Music Hall at 350 Madison Street in Detroit, Michigan. It will be starring Joe Torre,
Yeah, your eyes bad.
Daryl Banks, my eyes are good,
Okay.
Dominique, and featuring Cheryl Underwood, co-host of The Talk on CBS. And it was mentioned earlier that she's here today for a meet and greet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cheryl Underwood.
Unfortunately, there's no room on the list anymore, but you can definitely
more
come
room.
out and see. You can
Yep.
definitely come out and see Cheryl Underwood tomorrow. And UAW members, by the way, get $10 off their tickets. So that
Okay.
is Bullying is No Joke, and you can Google it. You can certainly go online to find out more information about this event taking place at the Music Hall downtown tomorrow
We
night.
got so into this today, we forgot about the Morris Thought. We forgot about the oil teas and
We got oil
compound.
teas and compounds for sale
Yeah, we got the Seventh Sign
by
hip
Kendrick
hop,
Hill.
you know, album by Kendrick L. Sister,
We had an article.
we had an art. We just
We
got
vote
off
about-
into
Yeah,
it.
we were supposed to be speaking about getting ready to vote and how the Moors.
You know, was voting. Yeah, we dropped the ball. We got into it. It got good to us. We got a few technical difficulties. We did, you know. So it is what it is. It's just this is live television. It happens when you on live TV. But this is still the best station in the nation. Channel 4, 2, CNN, NBC. Didn't they block out or had a blackout when Serena Williams and they was playing a tennis match and they had to use some particular camera? So it happens to the big people.
Yeah.
So you know it can happen to us.
You sure can.
And we bigger.
Yeah. Can I add something though? Since we were talking about the prison industrial complex and privatized prisons, I just wanted to say to remind everyone that privatized prisons are partially brought to us by Victoria's Secrets, McDonald's, Walmart's, Whole Foods, AT&T, Bank of America, Chevron, Geico, Verizon Wireless, and others. So that those are the companies that are helping to keep jobs free and who are benefiting from privatized prisons, who continue to benefit and are keeping that information from the
capitalize on
mainstream media.
That's right, y'all.
Excuse me. Capitalizing on our
Capitalize.
brothers and sisters' backs.
Yep. And that's because we clinging to names that allude to slavery. Thug, pimp, gangster, black, Negro,
Colored.
color, all these things allude to slavery. The N-word, and the list goes on and on. And a man is what he thinketh.
Discover the truth. Be yourself.
Be yourself, y'all.
Proclaim your nationality and your birthright.
Got to do that.
As long as you clinging to the slave holders' names, those are marks. You're not even being yourself.
That's a fact, y'all.
Black is in the Crayola box.
Sister Kimbria, give us some last thoughts right quick. Give us a quick minute. You got a minute. Give it to us real quick so we can get up out of here.
Peace, y'all. The time is now.
Praise
Put away
Allah.
all your fears. Man cannot die. So the time is now for y'all to wake up and stand for something and stop falling for everything.
That's right. And don't nobody ask me, am I willing to die for the more science temple of America? My answer is no. I'm only willing to live for it.
Love and unity in our communities.
Love and unity definitely is the answer, and it's the key. Because love is only what? What is love, Sister Kimbria?
The only savior of the world.
See, and she from a whole nother grand body, and I didn't even have to say it.
Love conquers
We
all,
got the same
sister.
teachers, y'all. What the heck is we talking about? I ain't finna mess with this brother and that
right.
sister because she from another grand body.
That's
I didn't
right.
even. I just said the word and she finished the statement. That's because we on the same page.
That's
We
right.
already got unity.
Right. That's right.
Allah is
We are
love.
unified amongst the minds.
That's right, sister. Hey, I
If you
appreciate
out
you,
there-
sister. We gonna have you back, and I promise we gonna get that picture situation in order so that they can get a chance to see what you look like, and we gonna promote you down there in Virginia. Come hang out with us again, y'all. Next week, same time, same place, right here on the Think Tank Show. Best station in the nation, TV 33 WHPR. I'm finna go see if I can get my boogie on with Sister Cheryl Underwood real quick.
Love and peace.